Okay, so this is our last lesson for our skills week, and today we are looking at our results, and we are going to be writing up our results and writing a fantastic conclusion. So give yourself a title and then we'll see what you've got to do. So let's have a look what we've done so far this week. We have written a method, a very detailed method of how to make salt crystals. We have carried out the experiment at home, or we've actually watched me and Miss Moore make copper sulfate crystals in the lab at school. You've then learned how to draw a graph and splat your graph so you can now make amazing graphs. And now what we need to do, we need to look at these graphs, we need to write up our results and then make a conclusion. So did we find that the longer we leave the crystals to dry or evaporate, the bigger they are? Did we find that? So I'm going to give you my set of results. That'll make things easier for all of us, and we'll work from those and then we'll see what we actually think. So here's my set of results. So we are looking at the size of the crystal. So we measured the length of the crystal. So it's not an exact science here, but you know, it's very difficult. We could have weighed them as well and looked at the mass, but we've looked at length here, and then we've looked at the amount of time it took to actually produce the crystals and whether that had any effect on the length of it. This was obviously repeated 3 times, so which is why we've got our key here. So teacher 1, teacher 2, teacher 3. So we've got 3 sets of data here, and as you can see, the line is increasing over time. So if we look at what has increased, it is the length of the crystals has increased over time. So you can quite categorically say here from these results from this set of data on all 3 occasions that as the time increased, the length of the crystals also increased. So here, I've put it quite clearly for you. So we've got a photograph here of some crystals. And on the left side, we have crystals. They are granular crystals that are formed very, very quickly. So they're very small. Then in the middle, obviously, these ones have taken a little bit longer because they are slightly bigger. And then obviously on the right-hand side, we have crystals that have formed over a long period of time. I've also included a graph. There's no numbers on this graph, but that basically shows you as time of cooling or evaporating the water carries on, the size of the crystals of the salt increases. So if a solution cools very quickly, that means it evaporates quickly and only very tiny grains of crystals are formed. If there's obviously excess liquid, as there was when we did the experiment in the lab, we used a Bunsen burner to obviously get rid of the excess liquid, and then we left it to dry on the side over a few days. And obviously you saw that the crystals got bigger and bigger. So what we can generalize here is that the longer the solution is left to cool and evaporate, the greater the size of the crystals. So that brings us to the end of Skills Week. We have learned how to make an experiment, write a method, risk assess it, collect data, collect results, draw a conclusion, write it all up in great detail. So we have learned a new skill here, and what I want you to do, I want you to carry out the way you did that every time we do an experiment from now on. So how to really write a good method, how to really analyze those results and draw a decent graph and splat your graph, how to assess the risks, what are the dangers when you carry out an experiment, and finally you have managed to write a fantastic conclusion. So well done everyone. We will now be moving on in weeks 11, 12 and 13 to do some of the experiments that we sent through to you. So we are going to be looking at a healthy lifestyle next week, and we'll be doing the ruler drop test as our first experiment. So watch out for the lessons daily, and we will tell you what you need and what experiments you're going to carry out at home. So have a fantastic weekend, everyone. Well done, and we've picked up some new skills. Fantastic.